Okay, let's just go over our basic strokes, warm up our hand, use any writing utensil of your choice and any blank sheet of paper or guidelines that you may have with you. And let's start off with our upstroke. And of course, I'm doing it large because I do have a large brush pen. And then downstroke. Let's do overturn. Underturn. This is an example of what happens when your brushes begin to fray. The upstrokes don't become as smooth as they once used to. We have a compound curve. Let's do a reverse compound curve. Oval. Reverse oval. A ascending loop. Descending loop. And that's all we have for our little warm-up. And I'm just going to do a quick overview of what we are doing today. We're going to start off by, of course, doing our worksheet for the month. I apologize. Let me see. I hope y'all don't mind doing a repeat of this because the people that are in class.
Not at all. Not at all. Everything's fine because we need the practice.
For sure. Okay. Thanks for the feedback, Celeste. All right. So we're going to work on that. I want to go over doing some block lettering today. I know, it's questionable why we're learning block lettering, but we all know that from time to time we like to throw in block, and I just want to show you some techniques. Just as if we're learning calligraphy, block lettering takes some technique and learning to get it looking straight as possible. So we're going to go over some techniques. We'll also do just a little warm up of transitioning these words to block lettering. I did ask Ashley to upload this, so I hope I got it out soon enough and you were able to get that. And it's not mandatory to have this sheet. You can definitely just copy what I have or just practice the block lettering when we get to this step. And then we're actually going to do two quotes today. The quote that we did last week, and then the second quote was going to be this quote written on some snowflake looking background. And this will be in all calligraphy. So that's just an overview of what we're going to do today. And of course, we're just going to start off with our worksheet. Let me see. I'm going to go ahead and use a small brush pen for this one. Let me get some washi tape to hold this tracing paper down. I like that. Sorry for that. All right, letter J has, yeah, letter J. Let's start off with the downstroke, the main stem, loop it through like a letter J, of course, and then the added loop on the top, down like a large C, and back up with an exit stroke. So of course the letter J, 2 strokes. One more time. The main stem, full pressure down. I apologize. Start with light pressure and full pressure down, loop through, and exit with light stroke. The what would you call it? The large C starts with a little hook on the top, cross over, downstroke, and back up with the exit stroke. Main stem, loop it through, and then here, touch where you've already have the main stem. So again, the lightest pressure, light, and then just drop straight down into full pressure. Release before the bottom, cross through with a light stroke. And then connect with a loop, like creating a large C. Actually, that was a lot shorter than, I apologize. I think I'm trying to save room over here, but actually the main stroke is going straight down 2 rows. So I'll drop it all the way down. That's better, like that. The loop, large C. There we go. So yeah, these are too short right here. Okay, moving on to the lowercase j. Entrance stroke, descending loop with a exit stroke. A bounce letter J. It's a extended, a swirl, or what would you call that? A guess a swirl exit stroke.
Flourish or
Flourish. Yeah.
no?
Yeah, I guess. I think what I'm trying to, yeah, I guess a swirl is more like this, or that's a loop. I would consider that a loop. Yeah, flourish. Yeah, that's right. A flourished exit stroke. Yeah, I like that word. Okay, so then I'm gonna move on to the fouligraphy. For that one, I'm gonna just grab the other end of my Tombow pen, the monoline side, non-flexible side. So with the letter J, I'm gonna create the first half and stop at the main line. So loop it on top, straight down as if I'm just drawing a regular letter J and not crossing over at all. Add my second line and then add my loop to the top and bottom. Lowercase letter J, entrance stroke, main line, no crossover, second line, exit stroke. Do it one more time. J, main, second line, 2 exit strokes. Lowercase entrance, main stem, second line, and an exit stroke. Add some color for fun. Okay, back to the purple. We're gonna do Happy New Year. Okay.
Hey, Rachel, you had 3 more people join?
3 more?
Yes.
Okay, great. Welcome, guys. We're just working on the warm-up sheet.
Okay. Great,
If
thank
you have,
A hard time getting in, so that's why we're a little late.
yeah, it happened to me too. I apologize.
That's okay. Okay.
We still have a lot more work to do, so this is just our first warm-up sheet.
Okay.
If you have it, just jump right in.
Okay, yeah, I have it. We have it ready.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Okay, just a little quote there to break up our J and our January. And then we're going to go through all the strokes that create our word January in a standard form, standard writing. We have our entrance stroke, descending loop, oval, reverse compound curve, regular compound curve, underhand turn, 2 underhand turns, oval. Let's see, underhand turn goes right into the letter R, compound curve, and a descending loop. Put them all together, slightly overlapping each stroke, leaving enough room to show the thick and thin. Okay. We have our January written in bounce lettering. January was a hard one to bounce. Okay. Do January in fouligraphy form. So J, like the top part. Do not do any crossovers. Add the second line after the front drawing. With the circles, I always like to just loop it around twice. Always draw your flourish out as if it were a basic stroke, and it allows for proper spacing. But I guess also extended form as well. So basic strokes in an extended form. So you can go back and add your second line. It won't be so crammed. So there's another one. Do not cross over, stop at the main line, second line, and then add the tail. The exit stroke, I should say. Okay. January written in expanded form. Expanded entrance stroke. Don't lift your pen until you get to your next letter and your next stroke. And then you're gonna expand the exit strokes for the rest of the word. Okay. And then we have January flourished. J with the double loop there. Letter N flourished at the bottom with a little bounce on the top. So with the Y, I actually went in from the underhand turn and looped the downstroke straight down and then looped it through. Okay, that's all we have for our January warm-up. And of course, it was always good to use tracing paper if you always want to go back and re-practice these combinations, or even just fill up rows and rows of capital letters or lowercase letters, or even some foligraphy. Okay, so we're gonna go into another type of warm-up. So like I mentioned, I want to touch base on block lettering. I've incorporated block lettering in the past. But I always notice, because myself, I never really focused too much on teaching myself block lettering and understanding that there, is a real technique to it, and it does take muscle memory, and it does take some learning, just the way we learn our basic strokes in calligraphy. And I would do quotes here for class and even quotes on my own, and I would always struggle with my lines being so straight until I came across a video that taught me, there's more to it than we think. So if you want to just grab a piece of paper, we're going to go over a couple of drills that I'll show you some examples of drills we can do to keep our block lettering as straight as possible. And then we'll move on to the next worksheet. So let me just start off with the first one. When it comes to I wouldn't know how to say, there's not a specific name for them, but it's more of the direction that these strokes go. So first we want to start with an upstroke. Let me do 3 lines up. So straight up. If you have a guideline, when it comes to these block letterings, you probably would want to use something, maybe a dot grid, something that maybe has lines to teach you how to stay in a straight line. So this, we're gonna go up on the first stroke in an upwards direction. And then just stay as straight as possible. I won't fill up the whole entire row just so that we can move on to other projects. But what you're looking for here is see how my last one, even though I'm tracing a line, it still looks like a little worm. We want to go for something similar to the first one and just teach yourself to stay as straight as possible. And when you do rows and rows of the same strokes, eventually will, muscle memory. Okay, so I'll stop there just to save some time, but feel free to fill up rows and rows of these strokes I'm about to show you. Next, we have, of course, downstroke. And just keeping it as straight as possible. My downstrokes always seem to be more straight than up. Next stroke I would want you to practice is diagonal from the bottom up. And when you use graph paper like this, you can actually practice going from one corner to the next. Next one will be from the top to bottom in a diagonal. And same thing, if you got to move the paper around and move the position of your hand, whatever you need to do to make the lines as straight as possible. Then we're going to go in the opposite direction from the bottom up. Well, actually, yeah, we'll do the bottom up. Okay, that's correct. And then from the top down. Okay, now straight across. Oh, look how crooked that was. Straight across. And then straight across, but backwards. And then we have a half circle. Another half circle on the other side. Oh, I made that one even bigger. And then a full circle. And then a reverse full circle. Okay, so again, these are just drills that I think will help with our block lettering and understanding how to keep these basic shapes straight. I do have another handout that I hope you were able to print off as well. And it's basic ABCs, just like calligraphy again, practicing basic block lettering, tracing over them is another way. Getting some tracing paper. And then in this one, I'm gonna definitely put some washi tape because I'm gonna grab a ruler and draw some guidelines on top of these letters. Or you can just write directly on the sheet if you don't have tracing paper. Okay, so what I'm gonna do with this is get the ruler right on the very top and draw a line straight across. Do straight across, right in the middle. I'm going to use the E and the F for reference. And right at the bottom. I'll just do 2 rows. And then I'm going to jump down to the bottom and I'm just going to make a line on the top and bottom. Okay. So again, this is just another way to practice the block style lettering. And just tracing right over each letter, but just trying to stay as straight as possible.
Rachel, a while back,
Yes.
you did a project with us that there were block letters, but for example, when let's say you're doing the block E as an egg,
Yes.
the base line, the middle line, and the top line were shorter. Is that
Mhm.
a style thing, or is that a whole different set of block letters?
No, it's all style. It's
Okay.
style. I think that one we were doing tall and short.
Okay,
Um,
yes, I think you're right. I think you're right.
So for example, and then that's what we're going to get into next. So this is just our basics.
Right.
And in that day, we were making it thicker on one side and then just shortening the stems. Oh, I didn't show that, but right here like that. So I'll do that again. So we did thick downstrokes and short.
Yes, you're right.
So that, yeah, that's more of a style thing. Yes. But I'm glad you asked because right here, what I'm trying to teach is more kind of how we can teach ourselves how to stay as straight as possible. Because I know even that day when I was teaching y'all those block letterings, I can see where I wasn't as straight just because we're so used to curving everything in basic calligraphy. And when you try to mix the two, you wanted that block to look as straight as possible. Okay, so again, I'll just do one more line. And that's a big letter. And then just to practice smaller lettering, trace over this small alphabet. Okay, so feel free to finish this on your own time if you want to just trace directly over the printed sheet or do it this way to preserve those ABCs. Using some guidelines to keep you lined up is always good. And then I had this here. So what I want to do on this one is actually get I'll go ahead and grab a Crayola, and I want to turn these letters into block, but also I want to write it um, with the thick and thin. So for example, we can just go, let's see. After doing those drills, let me know if you feel when writing these words, if it does help, because I feel it. After doing that right now, I could feel my hand just going more straight than I normally would,
I would agree. The drills do help to
keeping
be
us
straighter. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, I felt that too. So right here, right below row, I'm going to grab the Crayola and just add our thick downstroke. So also, I guess I would say this is a style as well. So you can definitely leave the thick out and do it straight, or add the downstrokes to blend in with the thick and thin. So just keeping the calligraphy concept in mind, every time your pen goes down, full pressure. Every time it goes up, light pressure. Thin, thick. So with the R, it starts thick and everything. Well, actually this is down, but of course we all know that it's gonna be thin. Every crossover will be thin. So this is, I guess that takes some learning, because maybe another alternative could have been, let's see, that it's too difficult to add a thick to the right side. So it's a lot easier just to keep it all thin and the main stems dark. Okay. So there we have it, block lettering written, just basic form, no thick, no thin, and then optional thick or thin, however you want your project to look. So we're going to start off with the first block project. I want to practice our block lettering more, but I also want to show you how to incorporate both of them. Kind of thought of this after class last week. I could have did every other line. Or we can do it that way. Let's do, I'll do one all, yeah, like that. One all block and one mixed. And then you can kind of choose however you want to draw yours. The measurements I have for this is 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. Okay, let me write that so that. So we're gonna do 1/2 inch and then 3/4. Oh wait, I said half. Oh, sorry. Okay, that's the pattern I'm going to follow all the way down using my ruler. And then I have my drafting pencil so that I don't make dark. I am going to do it dark, but if I highly recommend just using the slightest pressure on your pencil so that you can erase it easy. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. One more. And I'm using this printed image has a little white border, and I'm actually lining up my 0 to the border, not to the edge of the page. But it's up to you. It's however you like, but that's what I'm doing on this side. Okay, so the first one I'm going to do is block. I'm going to just go through the whole quote with block, and then I'm going to create a second one so that I can do block and calligraphy. But if you do want to just jump right into, mixing your calligraphy and not, doing it the other way, what I recommend is where your calligraphy is going to drop, adding a second line. Just right in the center. So for example, I would put January in calligraphy and adding a second line just so that you can have a proper guideline. But in this situation, I'm going to just do block all the way across. Keep my block practice going. And then these smaller sections are actually going to be empty. It's just my spacing, and I'm going to just fill in the bigger area. Okay. Then I'm going to mix my quote with calligraphy, and I'm going to make the spacing smaller on this one. And I'm just going to do 1/2 inch all the way down. Or actually, I'm going to mark it every halfway, every 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to show you how I would create my guidelines. Okay. So I'm gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So every third line, let me see, is going to be empty. But this every second line will be my X height. So actually, so second line X height, empty space, 1, 2, second line X height, empty space, 1, 2, X height, empty space, 1, 2, X height, empty space, 1, 2. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and on this one, I'm gonna actually sketch it out. And we all know the power of sketching. Start off January as calligraphy. And then I'm gonna mix it. Okay, and I'm just gonna write directly over my sketch with my Crayola marker. Okay, and I would normally go right away and just start erasing my sketching, but with this Crayola and this image, it will dry with, and I actually like the way it dries. It looks kind of like watercolor, but I'm gonna set it aside and then erase my sketching later. There we have that quote with mixed. And then we're gonna jump into our second quote, which is just a fun calligraphy quote. And these Okay, it says 1 inch, every 1 inch I spaced. Let me check that. I think I'm gonna space this the same way with a 1/2 inch. Okay. So this spacing is gonna be, I'm sorry, a quarter, no, 1/2 inch. So a pattern of 1/2 inch for the snowflake quote. Put that there. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. And I'm actually gonna just sketch 1/2 inch all the way down and then figure out what lines I'm gonna place my quote after. So this one is a lot harder to see the border. So I guess I'm just gonna go off the very top and edge my ruler to the very edge just to make it easier to see. I know at the very beginning of just doing quotes in general, and we get all excited with learning our basics of basic strokes, basic calligraphy, and then you get to a point, well, what am I supposed to do with this? Oh, okay, well, I got to teach myself how to write quotes and possibly frame it and put it on display. And then I got to this portion of my learning, and hated guidelines. I mean, it was like, why am I doing this? But once you get the hang of it and realize how straight your quotes are going to look in the frame or whatever project you're doing, you start appreciating why you teach yourself how to write guidelines and why it's so important to just sketch the quote first. And again, I really disliked it. And at one point I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm just going to practice and not even deal with quotes at all. But teaching class all these years has really taught me how to appreciate, you know, going out of my comfort zone and continue to do quotes or continue to teach myself new things so that I can pass along the information. If I would have never did class, honestly, I don't know if I would have still been doing calligraphy today, because this is the only thing that keeps me, again, learning month after month. So definitely invest in getting a nice a pencil that you can sketch and erase with. I'm going to give you all the link to this eraser set that I got off Amazon. I highly recommend it. I don't know if y'all got my tip on pencils, but I was using, a regular #2 pencil because of the eraser here on the end. And when I realized I had already had this pencil from another calligraphy set I got, basically after sketching my whole quote and going back to erase it, it looked as if I never even touched my paper with pencil. So again, appreciating the guidelines and finding the right pencil and eraser is definitely key to getting these quotes pretty straight and spaced out. So I'm going to end up with 6 lines. I want my quote to start somewhere right here. So let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Too low. I'm going to go higher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I'm going to start right here. I'm going to use 2 boxes, 1, 2, X height. This is not going to be used. So 2 lines, X height, space, 1, 2, X height, space, 1, 2, X height, space. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Oh, I hope y'all can see that. X height. So try to sketch if possible. I'm just writing a lot harder so we can see it. And then let's just sketch out our quote. It says winter sunlight. Is a warm old soul comma spreading love in the bidder code. Okay. No entrance stroke. And then go over with the eraser. Just erase right over the quote. Okay, that's it for this quote.